Okay, so this is what it looks like. It's ready to stitch up. We've pinned the whole way around the edges, and Tim is ready to get started sewing. Again, he's going to start out by doing a couple of stitches using his reverse button and coming back a couple stitches before moving ahead. This time he's only sewing a 1/4 inch seam, which is smaller than the seam that we did the last time. Remember that you're trying to stitch in a straight line. It's like driving a car, so you have to watch where you're going and you guide your thread, just like your mom has to use the steering wheel to guide your car. When Tim gets closer to where the cuff meets the rest of the pillowcase, it's going to be a little bit harder to get that stitching through. Just take your time and let the machine do the work and guide your fabric through there. Tim is approaching the bottom of the pillowcase, and we've marked with a pin a 1/4 inch from the bottom, so he's going to stitch down to that pin. It's the green pin with the green head, and he's going to stop, and we're going to show you how to pivot to the bottom. Okay, we're coming up on that pin with the green head. When Tim gets to that point, he's just going to stop with the needle down. Okay, pull that pin out, lift your presser foot, and turn your pillowcase so that you're ready to stitch down the bottom. Okay. And then you just start again. No need to back stitch, just keep going straight ahead. And you're gonna stitch until you get to the edge again and do a reverse for a couple of stitches and then stitch right off the end. Pillowcase lay nicer in the corner. You can see we have a lot of fabric here at the bottom. I'm just gonna take the scissors and I'm gonna cut on an angle and just snip that off, so that this, I did not cut the threads, just the fabric that was sticking out on the end. Tim is now going to turn the pillowcase inside out. I'm going to show you how to use a pencil eraser to push out the corners of the pillowcase at the bottom, so we have nice sharp points before we sew again. And then the next step will be to take your pillowcase back to Mrs. Stamen's room to do some pressing of those seams to get them ready for your final seam sewing. All right, we're back at the sewing machine, and Tim is ready to sew the last seam to the pillowcase. He's again starting out with taking a couple stitches forward and a couple stitches backward with the reverse button, and he's sewing a 1/4 inch seam, or I'm sorry, a 1/2 inch seam this time, with our 1/4 inch seam tucked in there. So we're actually hiding that seam. He's going to sew the whole way down, pivot, and the whole way across the bottom, just like we did with the 1/4 inch seam, but this time we're keeping it at a 1/2 inch. Tim has finished the sewing and we're ready to see the magic of our pillowcase. There is no trimming for the second seam, so we're just ready to turn this right side out. And you'll notice when you do this that the first little seam that we sewed is inside the other seam, so there's nothing, no loose threads sticking out anywhere on the pillowcase. It will be all ready to go to our friends at Hershey Med. He's using the pencil eraser again to pull those points out. It's a little trickier when you don't trim them, so take your time and try not to tear anything as you're doing it. looks pretty good too. You can take it to Mrs. Stamen's room at this point again and get it all pressed and ready to go.
Woohoo!
There it is, a finished pillowcase.